Hello, everybody. I'm Wendy Nystrom with Environmental Social Justice. Today, we have special guest, Ms. Debbie Levin. She is the founder of CEO of Environmental Media Association. So welcome to the show, Debbie.
Thank you so much. So nice to be here.
Thank you. And I hunted you down. You're one of the few people that I relentlessly tried to get you on the show because EMA was founded in 1989 when most people weren't really paying attention to the environment. Right. And then you took over in 2000 and resurrected it to this amazing industry. Could you please tell people what you do?
Okay, well, I think the general mission is we are the storytellers for the environment, and we use the entertainment industry as our vehicle. We are kind of the voice. We have several boards, and we have several programs, and we have a lot of celebrities on our executive board. We also have all the studios, and we have major power players in the entertainment industry, as well as our corporate board, which are our corporate partners who we've been with. The longest is Toyota, which is a story that I'll talk about, the Prius, but we've been together for going on 22 years, which is an amazing story in and of itself. And now this year, we've actually started the EMA Activist Board, because there's incredible activists in this world right now. And they are so smart, and they're so solution oriented, and they're so positive, and they're so responsible. They are a group of international, diverse, brilliant young people who are taking on climate in a way that is exactly correct for their generation. And they're speaking to their generation in a way that is, again, it's so inclusive and it's so positive and it's so, it's sort of guidelines for moving forward on our earth. So we're very excited about that, but we're very excited about all of our boards. But, our real mission is to really be the messengers for all things environmental. And that's a big tent. And how we approach this is really, we try to talk to people who don't know already. Yeah. So there's a lot of people talking to each other in a way that normal people, the general audience, the pop culture audience, doesn't even seek to find out. It's kind of like the way news is now. You kind of seek your own news, which it's not really news, but it's your own version of the news. So what we try to do is we try to reach people who aren't necessarily looking for environmental blogs or podcasts or social. They're just looking for pop culture. And within that arena, we talk about sustainability and being able to live a healthy, non-toxic life, and kind of bringing it very much into our individual experience.
I'm so glad you brought up talking to each other, because I started in the environmental industry in the 90s, and we all have our jargon and our acronyms and our language, and it's exclusionary. Not everybody's going to understand what we're talking about.
Right.
And what you're doing, and what hopefully I'm doing with this show, is bringing that message to everyone, talking about the environment, talking about climate change in a manner where everyone can understand and get engaged in and feel that they can take a part of.
Right.
And EMA is doing that. Aside from the fact, I went through your board listing, and it is a who's who. You have a remarkable amount of people, and very important people involved. How did you get them on board? How did you, this is all you accomplished this.
Well, thank you. I just, how you do things, you just kind of do things. Wait, can I think that I'm getting dings from my Outlook. So sorry. You can edit this, right? I just
no, I don't edit. That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, now you can see that I'm taking off my Outlook. Anyway, I think what it is that when I took over in the beginning of 2020, the organization was sort of floundering. They were going to close the organization. I ended up with a very, very small board of a few people, but I had kids in high school, and so I kind of looked around, and I went to a lot of events that I was invited to. I knew nothing about the environment. I also knew nothing about nonprofits, which I think was a big plus for me, because I didn't have any preconceived habits.
Yeah.
And so I realized that the environmental world was old. And I'm saying old in a humorous way since I'm now 22 years older. But they were, you know, they were on the other side of our generations. And I thought, this is completely unrelatable. I have kids who are, you know, following at that time all of the weeklies and the entertainment shows, and that's who they're listening to. They are
Yep.
not listening to people who are 55 years old. And so I thought, we need to make this really young. And
Yeah.
so I went after the young talent. And that's not to say that we didn't honor Ed Begley, who is still one of our most active board
He's
members.
wonderful.
I mean,
Yeah.
who's amazing, and just incredible people. But I definitely, my vision for this was to try to resonate again in pop culture. Pop culture is about young celebrities. And so, you know, you kind of meet somebody and you meet their friends and you meet their friends and their friends. And that is kind of how things have come together. And we continue to do that. In fact, we have an award show that is that was our 32nd annual EMA Awards. And we just had it in October, and it's kind of like, think Golden Globes, but all about sustainability. So
Love
all
it.
the content and all the honorees, everything is about climate heroes. And so I had it in my head that we had to get Billie Eilish, because
Oh,
Billie is the biggest pop star in the world, music star, and she is so authentically sustainable, and her mom and her family. And so I sort of put it out there in the universe, and it turned out that our chair of our activist board had been at her UK tour, because they were talking about, she's actually a Rhodes Scholar, and she was getting her,
oh,
she was studying at Cambridge, and she's amazing. And she spoke during a couple of the concerts in the UK during Billie's world tour. And she's like, I know a couple of people. Here's the email. And it ended up where we honored Billie and her mom. And it was an insane amount of media,
yeah.
which I don't even comprehend. And they are so lovely and they're so authentic. And that is the fastest way to get information out. You've got a 20-year-old superstar who's talking about being vegan, being sustainable, not being allowed to have paper towels or plastic bags growing up. Those are practices, and you don't get cooler than Billie.
No.
And more talented, obviously. But that's really where we want to go with this, is really speaking to a public who gets their information from social media and from pop culture, and making it something that is not only relatable, but also aspirational and chic and cool.
Oh,
And so,
absolutely.
right. So that's kind of the philosophy.
And you know, using stars, whether they're singers or actors, kids are going to pay attention to their heroes.
Of
And they're
course.
going to want to model themselves after those heroes. And then they're going to
Right.
bring that message home and
Right.
start kind of telling their parents, hey, can we start doing things a little differently? And it
Right.
is those small changes that will have a huge effect.
Huge, huge. And everybody is an activist. Everybody makes choices every day. You are an activist if you choose to do sustainable behavior, if you choose to swap out, your foods, the different foods that you're buying and the fruits and vegetables for organic and local and farmers market. You are an activist immediately, and that will then incentivize you to do more. And that's sort of how we launched the Prius with Toyota.
Yeah.
I met them in 2001, and they were coming out with this car, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I met the marketing guy for the head of alternative fuel vehicles. And he was explaining the car to me. And in my mind, I thought, well, this is easy. You don't have to do anything except go to the gas station less, because nobody knew what a hybrid was. But I thought, this is something that there's no reason not to do this,
Yeah.
because you're saving money, which I learned from my friend Ed Begley, who was always talking about how, because he's cheap, he's a great environmentalist because he saves money, which is his
Man after my own heart.
long-standing joke. But the truth is that, that was the idea, and it was a funny looking car and it was different. But what I loved about it is that it didn't look like anything else.
Yeah.
And so you could see it really, from far away, like, what is that car? And so I was able to get the celebrities to buy the car because they loved the message. I worked with the network, when it was doing like all those award shows.
Yeah.
And they I got I didn't work with for this, but I got celebrities to arrive at award shows in Priuses. And then I worked with to have them shoot the arrivals so that the celebrities could talk about the car they were coming out of. And we did it at the Oscars and the Grammys and the Emmys, and we did that for years. And it was like literally George Clooney, Meryl Streep. It was everyone, because who wouldn't want to be, teaching something when you're going to an award show? You don't need to be in a limo. You can be in a car that is making a statement about your lifestyle. And so that was great. And Prius is now the iconic hybrid car on a global level. And of course, they have so many more vehicles out there that are electric and hybrid and fuel cell. But the thing is that I believe that started the influx. And the thing that we love to do with companies is, if they're doing something amazing on a sustainability level, help them be successful. Because if they're successful, just like in the car company, all you see are commercials, every brand for an electric car. Yeah. And yay, have everybody do it. And that's the idea, whether it's cleaning products or makeup or skincare or food, anything, make those companies successful that are doing good. And then others will follow and be trying to, it's competition, which is amazing. Great.
And trying to get everybody just to do things a little bit better, be the good guy in all this, because unless we're all working together in the same direction, we're not going to make it.
You
and
also don't have to sacrifice anything, because sustainable products are, better, but they're definitely as good. And so, and they also, at this point in the beginning, it was a little tough because a lot of them were more expensive. And that's why I loved the Prius, because it was a very affordable car. And it's still a very affordable car. And so it's definitely something that everybody could do. But everything organic food industry and skincare, everything is competitive at this point, which is so great. It makes our life a lot easier when we tell people, hey, read a label. You do not want to buy something that has creepy, scary, long words in it, because they can't be good.
No, I always check labels. That's something I started like in my 20s, and people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just want to know what's in it. Is that so hard? Just,
but most people don't do that. Like, honestly, I didn't do it, 25 years ago. It was something that I learned how to do. And I was a mom. I mean, I'm a mom. I was a mom, and I have young kids, and I didn't know to read labels.
It's just something, it's something you get a habit into.
Right. And no one was talking about it. So that's something that's really important.
Absolutely. Now, going back, you mentioned briefly that you have these awards and programs you offer. You have your Impact Awards, you have your EMA Green Seal, and your EMA Talks program. Could you let people know what those are?
Our EMA Impact Summit is something that we do in the spring. It's a 2-day summit where it's kind of like we have our celebrities. We also now have our activists interview innovators and corporate leaders and scientists and doctors. We have a medical doctor on our board who created climate medicine. And honestly, it's always our biggest hit because I'm obsessed with what he says. And so he's always speaking it's Dr. Jay Lemery, and he's out of the University of Colorado, and he works with the Climate and Health Foundation. And they have a mentor program where they are teaching all these young physicians about the effects of climate on health and medicine and practice. But no one was doing that before. It's so crazy because it makes so much sense. And so Dr. J is always there getting interviewed and interviewing people. And it's it's just an amazing 2 days where you sit there, and then we have like parties, cocktail parties at night, but you learn so much. We also shoot everything, and those are part of our EMA Talks series, which is just like you're doing. It's a video podcast program, and it's celebrities interviewing amazing, fascinating people who are doing game-changing things in the world.
Oh, I love
And
it.
but we are very celebrity focused, because celebrities are able to interview in a way that they're not experts. They
Yeah.
are just very interested. And so they're not asking, they're asking questions that we would all ask, essentially. It's not like an inside thing where they're speaking a different language. They're talking to these innovators or these scientists or these corporate geniuses, and they're literally saying, wait a minute, I don't understand what you just said. Say it again.
Yeah. And that's what we need to all do. We all need to be
Yes.
able to communicate to everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it's urgent that, and you can find all of those EMA Talks on our website, which is green4ema.org. And we have them all on there all the time. Also following us at Green4Emma on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. And we've got a new vibrant TikTok thing going on with our influencers and our activist board, which I don't know that much about because
I don't know much about TikTok.
I'm not 16. So, but we're doing really well with that because we're doing all kinds of vertical videos and we're doing that stuff. But so our EMA Talks program, also, we do that throughout the year as well, where it started out, actually, we started it during COVID because we had all these celebrities at home and nobody was working. And so we did everything on Zoom for like a year and a half. And now we're going to be going live and doing some in-person EMA Talks as well as during Impact. So it's great. It's so much amazing information and they're so interesting.
Oh, yeah.
The EMA Green Seal is something we were founded to do messaging, to teach on camera within content using celebrities role modeling. In 2003, I went on one of our celebrities' sets, and it was a sitcom. And this was a celebrity who literally greenest person around, solar at that time, only hybrid cars, and there was no recycling on the set. And I thought,
yeah,
wait a minute, the studios were all trying to start doing things on the lots. The sets themselves are independent. So a soundstage is not, they essentially rent space from the studio. So the studio is not in control, which most people don't know. I didn't even know that at that time.
I did not know that.
Right. So it's like a TV show goes and I'm like, I want set, I want soundstage, 62. And so they're in business by themselves. And so they don't have to answer necessarily. Now, obviously, at this point, the studios offer a lot of input into what they do. But anyway, there was no recycling on the set. There was nothing on the set. I looked at a garbage pail and it had a script, a banana peel, and a plastic water bottle. And I thought, oh my God, this is terrible. And I went home and I started calling like a lot of our board members. And I said, we're doing all this great work in front of the camera. It is embarrassing that we're not doing this. Let's get a committee together and we have to create an EMA Green Seal, like just very generic, like an EMA Green Seal for production. Because no one was doing that. And so I had like 3 heads of networks, producers. I had Ed, I had Wendy Malick, I had Daryl Hannah, I had Amy Smart, I had a bunch of celebrity, actors, and I had industry leaders. And we all got together. We had about 5-6 meetings at different people's houses, and we knocked around what we could do that essentially wouldn't piss off the studio. And it wouldn't cost money, because that was the bottom line.
It always comes to money. We know this.
Right. I mean, at that time, there were messengers delivering 1 page of script changes to every actor's house, because that's the way it was done. And they were not recycling. I mean, it was just terrible. So we're like, okay, you have to use post-consumer waste paper. You have to print on both sides. Don't messenger anymore. And these were real recycling on the set, like really simple things. So we started out with 10 things that first year that you could do. And it was a great success, and we announced it at the 2004 EMA Awards. And it's now something that all of the major studios have helped create more and more. They all have sustainability officers now, which was not the case at the time.
Yeah.
And they all have helped. It's now, I think it's 225 potential points for an EMA Gold Green Seal. I think it's 175 points for an EMA Green Seal. It's about 250 or 60 different things that, it's a grid of what you're supposed to do, and then you figure out what you're doing, what the percentage is that you're doing, and then you have to explain and show how you did it for every aspect of filmmaking. And we have literally thousands of EMA Green Seals at this point. Last year alone, we had over 300. So we have many thousands.
Wow.
Yeah. And everybody participates. It's now gone global. We have our first studio, independent studio. Sunset Studios has 3 independent studio lots in Hollywood, and they all got an EMA Green Seal this year.
Fabulous.
Right. And they each have like sound stages. They've got like 8 or 10 sound stages on each lot. It's amazing. And
for people who don't know, I mean, media and production does generate a lot of waste.
So much waste.
Yeah.
Energy waste.
Energy waste too, yes.
We did our EMA Awards at one of the Sunset Studio lots, and we were 100% sustainable and carbon neutral.
I love it. That's not easy to do.
No, we plugged into their energy. That was fabulous. They allowed us to use their energy, it's actually carbon positive because they give some back. So it was amazing. We've also moved into hospitality because we have incredible partners at Montage International, who own the Montage and Pendry hotels, and all of their properties across internationally have an EMA Green Seal or an EMA Gold Green Seal. And that's awesome. The Montage and the Pendry. So this is we're very much into the experience. It's not about building. LEED does that really well. We're about once something is there or once something is built, what's the experience inside? What does the back of the house look like? What are your either actors and crew or guests experiencing? How is that, like, what kind of, are there toxins in the kitchen or in the cleaning? Yeah. All of that needs to be taken care of. And that is not always seen because our goal is to be seamless. So you shouldn't notice anything different. Everything needs to work exactly the same, whether it's an elegance of a luxury resort or it's the efficiency of a studio lot. It has to be the same, or a car. You can't have like a shitty car. It's an amazing car. So everything has to be fabulous in order for this to really be acceptable.
And you started this when it was hard. It was hard 22 years ago to do what you were doing.
It was.
I mean, now that we have more vendors, now that we have more availability, we have things that are more localized. Right. So you created a movement. I mean, I'm going to fangirl again. You created a movement of people that are just doing what is best, what is right, doing the right thing and moving forward. So before I let you go, because I know you're super busy and I'm very grateful for your time, how can people help? How can people get involved? You are a 501c3. People can donate.
Please donate. I mean, honestly, it seems like we're like this big deal organization, but I will say it's hard to fundraise around education, and it always has been, and practices. So our big fundraising push is really for our activist board, because we want to be able to fly them everywhere, and because they live all around the world. Yeah. And we need to get them places so that they could speak. We have a new initiative where we're trying to get them at film festivals so that they can actually be speaking to sustainability in the entertainment lens. And we want to be able to support them supporting content for us. So we can't ask them to do it free. They are activists. So we are really looking for an activist fund, essentially, because we have never met such incredible young people. And donating to our organization at green4emma.org. And then again, that'll get you everywhere. We have a newsletter coming out where you push the donate button. It's on our homepage too. that's really what we're doing it for. I mean, we work within our industry to help support our events, but we really, really, really need help with our activists because they are a gift.
Yeah. And they're problem solvers. It's not just complaining. It's not just saying the was ending, solving.
Right. And we really didn't know, like this year, this was new. And so we put our own general funds in there. And now it's like, we need to ramp up, and we've got new people who are interested in joining. And we just want to be able to support them doing the work they're doing.
Absolutely. So guys, please check them out.
Yeah.
You guys are doing amazing work. I mean,
thank you.
And leadership. I mean, when I first started in environmental, people like, oh, no one cares, and do something else for work and blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden it's popular and everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. Whereas Debbie was at the beginning. You led the charge. You knew what needed to be fixed, and you knew how to properly message this by talking to people simply and not trying to talk down to them or use jargon or acronyms and isolate people from the language. You are communicating directly with them, saying, this is what we all need to do together. We all need to work in the same direction to get it done. So I thank you for that, because very few people started doing this back in 2000.
Thank you.
It was not that popular.
You know what? I'm a mom and I'm a grandma. That's why I do it.
Yeah. And, you know, the generations coming up, they're aware now, and they want these things fixed. They want it addressed. They are also leading that charge, because they're not complaining. They're saying, we need to resolve this. We got to fix it.
Totally.
And they're doing that.
Yeah.
So on that, Debbie, thank you so much for your time today. Fabulous discussion. Guys, check out Environmental Media Association, EMA. Emma, wonderful work. Wonderful work.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, guys, donate, volunteer, participate, go to the awards ceremony, do what you can to help out.
It's so good.
I know. I saw the pictures. I was like, wow.
Yes, it's great.
It is.
Thank you so much. And thank you for doing this. This is a great podcast. It's great.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I tried. I too started during COVID because nobody was doing anything. I'm like, hey.
Right? I know.
Okay, guys, I'm Wendy Nystrom with Environmental Social Justice with my special guest, Debbie Levin. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.